Subconscious mind mastery, 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 mastery.
Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. I'm Thomas Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, there are sometimes people that cross your path that you just click with instantly. This is a brother of a different mother. His name is Bill Palanuk. He lives up in North Dakota. We have met one time, maybe about 10 years ago, but we just had an instant click the minute that we met on a similar project that you'll hear about a little bit in the interview here. But I got a text one day that said, he said, I've had a stroke. I'll be okay. And you know, with everything that's gone on in the world now, when you read that from one of your dear, close brother of a different mother friends, it goes right through you. And I was obviously shaken. I texted him back and I said, "Can you talk?" And he said yes. And we spoke for a few minutes. His speech was altered at that point. It is greatly improved today, which is sends chills down my spine, even just telling you that. But I wanted him to come on because there's a whole lot more than a stroke story here. There's a spiritual story of renewal and revival. And that's exactly what's going on in the world right now. So I just wanted you to hear from one little slice of life up in the Badlands of North Dakota how spirituality can come alive at any time, any place, in any way. Meet my good buddy, Bill Palanuk. Well, Bill, we should have done this a long time before you had a stroke. I'm really embarrassed that we got to the point where you had a stroke for us to get together again on a podcast. This time we were doing radio before, but this is a lot better.
Yeah, it is the freedom of being online and no time restraints, and but still our friendship is at the core of this whole thing. You know how we've maintained friends over the years. You know how we started, how we ended up here, and yeah, it's good to be here, Thomas. Thanks for having me.
I think we're about 10 years. We're coming.
Is that what it is? I think you're right.
No, it's more than 10 years. It's more.
Okay.
I think we were doing the radio back in like 2012.
Oh, is that? Oh, wow.
So
that
good
long.
We're talking, yeah, like 13 years we're coming up on or something. So anyway, I am so glad I got a text and you said, I've had a stroke. I'll be okay.
Yep.
And I'll tell you,
February 4th, I had a stroke.
Man, oh man. Why don't you tell folks how you knew you were not right in the middle of the night?
Okay. I've got our temporary office set up down in our bunkhouse where I live, and yeah, there's the bunkhouse behind me. But anyway, I was sleeping in this bed behind me, and I woke up, and our 1-year-old golden retriever was on top of me, licking me and just barking and going. I'm like, why does this dog want to play at this hour of the day? And so I tried to get up out of bed, and I could not move. It was as if somebody was holding me down, and I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. And then I brought my arm up, and I could not recognize my arm. I'm like, whose arm is this? I thought perhaps our grandson had a scary dream and jumped into bed with us, which happens occasionally. But as like it wasn't him, it was my arm. I couldn't figure it out. And so somehow I managed to get out of the bed, and I ended up on the floor, and I picked myself up, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? It never once dawned on me that I was having a stroke. And so I got up, walked around. This is 2:00 in the morning. I'm like, whoa, what the heck's this all about? So I laid back down. I managed to fall back to sleep, and got up about 6, which is normal. And I fed. We have besides Reba, we have 3 other dogs. And I sat down in my chair, and I picked up my phone, and I couldn't manipulate my phone. I couldn't get my phone to work. I couldn't do passcodes of FaceTime or the face recognition, all that. Nothing would work. I couldn't figure it out. Went to the computer, same thing. I couldn't figure nothing out. Sat back down in my chair, and I called for Della, our other golden retriever, and I could not talk. I could not speak. Sounds, inaudible sounds would come out, and that's when I knew that something was going on here. And so I got my wife up, and she was getting ready to take me to the ER, and she's doing that. I brushed my teeth. I combed my hair. It was awkward. I took my morning medication. I spilled a bunch of pills all over, and I'm like, "What? Why? My wife says she knew that I had a stroke. I did not know. Never once dawned on me. It's not from being naive or anything like that, or not. I knew it what a stroke is all about, but it never once dawned on me that I had a stroke. So we live out in the country, so we took the 45-minute drive into the ER, and they checked me in and said, "Yeah, you've had a stroke."
Goodness sakes. They say time is, with strokes, there's a saying, and I forget what it is. Time is brain or something. But in essence, what it's saying is that they have the medications that can stop the stroke at least, but you have to get quick treatment.
That's what, as I understand. Yeah, I heard that too.
And
But
like you went back to bed.
I did. I did. And yeah, that was in the ER, and laying there, and nurses fussing about, and the doctors came in and said, you have had a stroke, and we're getting a room ready. We're going to admit you to the hospital. And then we sat and laid in the emergency room for about 7 hours. They brought snacks in. It was fine. It sounds worse than it was. And it was fine. I was looking around. I was, watching a little TV, and going through my phone and pointing on different phone numbers for my wife to call. I had a full schedule. I had things going on. I have commitments, so I had to inform the world that probably not going to make it today, and tomorrow ain't looking that good either. So we did all that, and then when they told me that, let me just preface everything here by letting you know something I think that is of great importance to what got your attention on this, Thomas. Never once, not one time during this whole procedure, from the morning I had the stroke till right now, did I ever have any fear. There was never any fear. And quite the opposite, actually. I had this sense of calm, this sense of peace. And, when they told me I had a stroke, I go, okay, well, that explains why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And then when they told me that they were going to admit me to the hospital, I thought, cool. I've never stayed a night in the hospital in my life since I was born. This will be a new experience. So this was all going. I had this sense of peace and no fear, none whatsoever. People die from this stuff, but I was just calm, and yeah, it was. Uh, I don't know. My my speech therapy person, they have you work on different exercises. And for example, they'll have you write sentences using the three meanings of a word, like the three meanings of the word strike. Can mean strike out, strike, it has different meanings. I think I redefined stroke. I think this was not a stroke as an illness, but a stroke of luck. It's a mental reboot of some sort, and recently, well, not too recent, but over the course of the last year and a half, I've been looking toward God, to find God as I understand Him, which I have. And I think that's why I have had such a peace and such a calm about this whole thing. Um, we got, after 15 years, we finally got internet out at our place on the end of December. So for the last month or so, we've had this beautiful thing called broadband internet at our residence. And I moved my office home and all that. And I told people, I said, I will never take this for granted. I will never take this for granted. And I think God was just gave me a little nudge here and said, Bill, there's something else you should not take for granted anymore, or, something you should also consider. And that's the gift that he gave me, the gift of having a voice and the gift of curiosity, where I can talk to people and hear their stories and share them with the world, as you do, Thomas. And so this has been it's been interesting, and it's so many and realize what a great world that we do actually live in. If you spend time on social media, you can get pretty down on the state of affairs in the world. But when you have a stroke and a lot of people and they come forward, it's heartwarming. It's amazing. The people that I work for, the people that I work with, the care that I've seen, it's just truly amazing. I think what triggered us to talk today, when we talked on the phone yesterday, Thomas, I mentioned that in my room at the hospital, I was only there for, I think it was 2.5 days or so. And so I was there and I was alone with my thoughts, and that was so neat. It was so neat. In my mind, when in my head, when I'm talking beautifully. I'm talking, I don't have any delays or, the little bit of an impediment that you're probably hearing now. I'm speaking beautifully, and I'm thinking about my relationship with God. And I'd be sitting in that room. And I said, I'm going to embed this into my mind. I don't want to forget anything about this. And so I remember everything about there was a long bench along the wall, and I sit in that bench and I just look around. To my left, there was a recliner, and then there's a closet, and then there's a place where the nurses would come in and then write their things and their schedules and stuff. Then there was a door with a curtain, and then the bathroom, and then the bed, and those crazy TVs with the microphone, the receive, the hear the audio right here, all that. So I remember it so vividly. And I said, I'm never going to forget this. And then the people at the hospital, too, who ironically sponsored one of the TV shows that I do, all were so wonderful. They were just amazing. And so I just sat there and absorbed it all, just looking around and just happy to be alive. And I think it was the last morning I was there. I I woke up, and I still do this. I test my speech. I just say something, And I woke up that morning, and I was had my head on a pillow, and I said, well, out loud, I said, well, I guess God isn't done with me yet. And I immediately bolted upright. I sat up and I thought, oh my God, what if God is done with me? What a horrible, horrible existence that would be if God is done with you. My God, I was overcome with grief, thinking that there are people that perhaps feel that God is done with them. And it literally brought me to tears. And my mother-in-law is a God-fearing woman who likes to talk about God and likes to talk about Bible verses and things like that. I immediately called her and I told her my thoughts on that. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm kind of rambling here, but this is all on the surface, man. It's so cool. It's so neat. What I Do I wish I hadn't had a show? Perhaps, but I wouldn't trade the last month for anything on the things that I've observed and the things that I've learned and the things that I've experienced and continue to experience. It's beautiful. Life is it's, a, it's good to meet me today.
Well, let me ask you that, just right on that theme. Let's wave the magic wand. Your voice is back. You're able to go back to work. What do you carry forward into your otherwise what will become soon normal life again? What do you bring with you from this?
The experience and the empathy. I don't think there's a medical facility on this planet that isn't criticized for one thing or another negatively. And I don't think I will do anything to change, but I am going to share my experience with the people at the hospital. Ironically, it was the same hospital I was born in. And I work closely with them on the TV show, carrying their message. The one thing I know I'm going to do is to do a 1 hour special on the hospital and share my experience with them. Um, Another thing that I experienced, having mentioned that one other thing that occurred, whenever I guess it's pretty standard practice. Anytime somebody is in a hospital, clergy will come by and ask you if you need anything, if you want a Bible, this or that. And this nice lady came by. She represented the clergy at the hospital, and she sat down and we, did introductions. And then she asked me, how I was doing. And I went on a roll like I'm doing on your show today. I just went on a roll about God and about, where I'm at, how I discovered God recently, and that I have a God of my understanding. And I'm not ashamed to admit, but this came about through AA. I joined AA a year and a half ago, and that's one of the steps is to turn everything over to a God of your understanding. That's how it came to be. So I was telling her about all this, and I will never forget the look that lady had on her face. It was she just I was just about brought her to tears, And back then my voice was way bad. My speech, I should say, was way bad, and so, but I will never forget the look on that woman's face when I told her where I was at. That this is, I don't have a punishing God. Does not punish me. He's subtly reminding me of a few things, showing me a few things, and she was just that's a memory that I will hold forever. That woman's face when I told her that I'm in a good place. God's will, thy will be done. It's up to him. It's this happened for whatever reason, and I'm back, and I think I have new things to say and a new way to say them. Yeah.
Well, and that's an excellent point because you tell people what I was going to frame it up this way. I was going to say, has anybody ever told you that you have a good voice? Because
Couple times, yeah. Yep.
tell people what you've done for about the last 40 years.
Oh my. Well, I've been on the commercial radio for most of those last 40 years, and I work with a company called Talking Trails, which if you go to a state park or the Fargo Air Museum or the Buffalo Park in Jamestown, North Dakota, and all these various places around the world, uh, it's called a talking trail, and there's a QR code that you scan, and a voice will come up on your phone and explain to you the display that you're standing in front of. Lawrence Welk's boyhood home, for example, our state capital in Bismarck, North Dakota, has it, and it's my voice. I do the voices for that, and so that's amazing. I've also been involved with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame for quite a few years now. I think it's been, gosh, almost 10, maybe, I don't know. It's been over 10 years. I do a weekly radio show and podcast for them, and I MC various events for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. And
You also
yeah,
have the TV show too.
yeah, the TV show. I did a couple, and did one for a company called Beck TV a while back, called Dakota Cowboy, and I segued into a new show called Western Edge Living, which the mantra for that was is interesting conversations with interesting people about interesting things. And nonprofits, people who have just started business, people have got a little story to tell. I bring that out of them and share that on TV, and it was going really well. I mean, we only
Well,
been
yeah. So to realize as you were sitting in that emergency room, I have had a stroke and I make my living with my voice. And obviously, you were hearing yourself slurring these words.
Mhm.
And yet you said you had no angst at that moment?
None, none.
That's
I still
amazing.
don't. I still don't. And what's re this is awkward. What's really helped a lot, yeah, I make my living. I have no income right now, which is kind of scary. We have custody of our 12-year-old grandson, and um, anyway, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame had their annual meeting over the weekend, and they put a little fundraiser get together for me, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, uh, it's awkward to talk about. It's I don't know, but I've got some good friends out there who are helping me and care about me, and we're gonna be all right. We're gonna be just fine. Dion, come here. Dion just got home from school. Bring your Come take a look.
Hey,
This is
there he is.
That's Dion, her grandson.
Hey,
That's my
Dion.
friend Thomas.
Hey, and there's the dog.
Yeah. So yeah, there was you can go play. You can go play.
Good to
So
see you.
yeah, a lot to be just I have no
That's
words,
great.
obviously,
That is
they're helping
great.
me out, and they put a little fundraiser together, they got a benefit account for me, and so I'm gonna be okay, and that buys me some time. That buys me the time that I need without having to worry about something for a little while, so I can heal up, and
That
I'm
is so
just
touching. It really
yeah,
is.
oh my God.
Now,
And then in my career, I've done literally thousands of fundraisers. I'm also an auctioneer, and I've sold, sales for a lot of different charities and things, and I've never once been on this side of it, so that's another layer of the depth of actually what I've done over the years, helping people in some small way, buy a little bit of time, buy a little peace of mind, for a few days so they can heal. That, wow. I'm just realizing that now that, that's going to take on even more weight when, when I'm fully recovered.
yeah, yeah, well, you blew me away when we were talking because you said that strokes of the speech, at least, originates from two sides of the brain. Can you show them what you showed me about singing? Get
Where
this
you're
now.
Okay, your singing voice and your speaking voice originate from two different parts of your brain. And I think the example I gave you was everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody needs somebody sometime. I, I don't think there's any good paying jobs for bad singers, but I just thought that would explain Ozzy Osbourne, wouldn't it?
Well,
He
I thought maybe you could, go visit the Cowboy Hall of Fame.
that would never get old, would it? Listening
No,
to
you could just start doing your stick with some jingles there, you'll be
oh,
fine. That'll work.
oh, yeah.
It'll be great. Well,
I don't
you couldn't be in really a better position because you do have the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame with a long-standing relationship, and you've contributed incredible value to them over the years. You're working with a hospital on your TV show. I mean, you put all of this together, and it seems like you are going to have a different message when you do come back, which it
I
sounds
do
like. I mean, you have made such incredible progress in just a couple of weeks. It's really phenomenal.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I can tell every morning, and we're late in the day. I don't know what time zone you're in, but it's just after 4 o'clock here. And so I've been doing some things all day, and I even though I had a nap toward the end of the day, my speech gets a little bit worse. But first thing in the morning, I'm talking to Dion. In fact, I've been our roads are bad, so the school bus can't get in right now, and so I've been giving him a ride to school this week. And the other day we are going to school. He says, "Grandpa, all morning your speech has been almost perfect," and
Yeah.
so he's even noticing it. And so, yeah, we're making progress. We are, and I'm pretty excited for what's to come. We're going to reboot the TV show. And I'm on schedule right now to be the master of ceremonies for the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame signature event, which is our induction ceremonies. But I'm going to do it without a hat, and the subject of my speech is going to be the title of my speech is going to be "Hats Off," and
Mm,
hats
wow.
off to the new inductees, hats off to the board of directors at the Cowboy Hall of Fame, hats off to everybody who supported me. So I'm processing that. I'm going to put that together and kind of hopefully meet with the hospital next week and remind them that what a marketing asset I can be to their organization. So,
Oh, no
but
kidding.
yeah, so
Okay,
I'm
now,
pretty excited,
so you've been a disc jockey for like 40 something years.
right?
And during that whole time, did you have any spiritual grounding or basis at all?
Not really. I was a drunk for, you know, 38, 40 of 38 of those 40 years. And so, and I had a kind of a checkered past from childhood, a bruised childhood and all that. And so being a disc jockey allowed me to hide from all that and be somebody else and not, I use air names like Bill Daniels. I still use Wild Bill. I tried to shake that, but I don't think
Wild
that's
Bill
ever going to happen.
Palanuk.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But the point is that being a radio announcer encouraged me, if you will, to be somebody else, and I didn't have to deal with my personal problems. And anytime, at least in my world, anytime that happens, you're going to implode at some point. And it was during that first TV show that I had my implosion, and so rebooting my life and stopping, um, drinking. In fact, Dion, last May, Dion and I went to a concert. He was one of his music heroes, and we went to that concert. And after it was over, that I told him, um, Dion, I don't know what it was about that concert, but it affected me in a way that no other concert ever has. And I can't put my finger on it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching you enjoy the show. I said, I don't know what it was. And Dion, 11 years old at the time, said, well, Grandpa, is that the first concert you went to sober?
Wow.
Wow. And
Wow.
yeah, out of the mouth of his babes, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, there's been a lot of soul searching and regrouping, finding God, and now this. I think it's more of a reset than anything. And what a great story to share! As I've been telling you these words, uh, it just adds further depth to what actually happened and what I experienced. So I thank you for bringing that out and recognize that, Thomas. That's awesome. As a storyteller myself, I see why you want to get on the air with me today.
Well, I want to keep up with you as well. So as this continues to unfold, Will you keep us informed? Would you mind coming back on?
Absolutely, I would love to. This is wonderful. I follow you, and you're one of my heroes too. I'm a Thomas Miller wannabe. This guy's got such a beautiful voice, and he's a
Oh,
handsome,
listen to me.
yeah, he's a handsome looking dude like you, man. You
You're
know,
the
it's
you're the voice. You are the voice. This guy is
uh,
incredible, and you ought to hear him on the air. He is good. He knows how to work a microphone. I can tell you that. Well,
thank
listen,
you.
Wild Bill, thank you. You continue to rest up and get well, and we'll look forward to having you back. And we'll play some of this. Although you sound really good, you sound almost back to normal, and I can't wait until you get back on the radio, back on television, and then you take this new part of your journey with you.
You count on that. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I guess you helped me realize how much I enjoy telling this story because it's a story that needs to be heard. So thank you for
Yeah.
that. Thanks for the opportunity, Thomas. We'll catch you down we'll catch you down the road, my friend.
We'll see you again soon.
Everybody loves
Love
somebody
somebody
sometime.
sometime. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. Thanks, Thomas.
Subconscious mind mastery, 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 mastery.